So if you're an Upwork freelancer but you're struggling to land clients, then chances are it's because you're failing at one of the 3 stages that I'm going to cover in this video. There are only 3 main stages in the funnel process to close clients through Upwork. And so you have to identify which of these 3 stages that you're lacking and fix it. And I'm going to provide you solutions depending on which of the 3 stages that you've identified that you're failing on from watching this video. So let's jump into it. The first and most obvious one is, are you applying to enough contracts every single day? And I get DMs almost every day now where people are saying, I'm struggling on Upwork, I can't land clients, how do I fix it? And my first question is, well, in the past 30 days, how many contracts have you actually bidded on? And a lot of them reply 10 or 15 or 17 contracts. It's just not enough volume. You can't possibly expect to close 5, 6, 7 clients a month when you're only applying to 10, 12, 13 contracts a month. That's a 50% close rate from application bid to close client. And it's just not going to happen. You have to bid consistently every single day on contracts that are relevant to your niche. Pick a number. The best way to do this is to say, I'm going to bid on 5 contracts a day. And I'm going to make sure with each of these 5 contracts, I'm going to include personalized Loom videos to make sure that my cover letter is enhanced. I'm going to include a personalized cover letter to make sure that the prospect knows that I've read the job description. And if you're doing this 5 times a day, let's say it's 7 days a week, that's 35 contracts a week. And so if somebody is applying to 35 a month, you are going to outperform them in the amount of meetings that you get from prospects. You're going to excel way faster. So volume is a big part of this. If you're just simply not bidding on enough, it's not going to work. How can you possibly expect to get enough active proposals if you're not bidding and applying to enough contracts? And so that's the first and most obvious one, is review the amount of contracts you've actually applied to and submitted in the past 30 days. And if it's very low, and in fact, once you know the amount you've done in the past month, let's say it's 100, divide it by 30 and calculate how much that is a day, right? You want to bid ideally on 5 to 10 a day. This is the sweet spot. And if you're watching this thing and I just don't have the budget and the Connects budget for, well, that's something that you have to figure out how to address, because Upwork is a pay-to-play game. You have to bid on contracts to be able to build up your profile. And I assure you, things get easier. There comes a point where your profile is so credible, you don't even need to bid anymore because you just get invites. And so in the initial stages to build it up, make sure you're bidding on enough contracts. And if that's your bottleneck, then it's a very easy fix. The second one is view rate. Now, what is view rate? When you apply to an application, what the prospect actually sees is a list of different candidates who have applied to the job. For example, here you can see I posted a contract looking for an additional account manager, and a bunch of people have applied. A view rate means when I click on one of these candidates, I am viewing their proposal. I'm looking at their proposed bid, I'm looking at their cover letter. Now this is a view. And so how do you increase your view rate? Because we need a good view rate in order to get a good response rate. Usually prospects are going to view your actual bid before they decide to message you or hire you. And so we have to get a good view rate as part of the stage of the funnel. This is stage 2. How do we do that? Well, the first is having a good opening line to the cover letter. If we don't have a good cover letter opening, then this part is not going to hook them in. So let's see here. We can see Roy, for a contract where I was looking for an Instagram DM setter. He posted, hey, I've been DM setting for the past 3 years. I've closed 1.5 million US dollars. $92,000 was his biggest deal. And he gets 70 to 100 a month in show rate of 90%. This is good metrics for somebody who's looking for an Instagram DM setter, which is what this contract was about. He has hooked me with results. And this is what you need to consider in the opening line of your cover letter, results. As opposed to the one above, which is, hello, let me introduce myself. I am Kin. I am from this location. I live in Cambodia, working in Cambodia. I'm a sales manager. This is not appealing because you're not selling the result. This is appealing to me. As somebody who's posted a contract looking for an Instagram DM setter, I clearly want a good performer. And a good performer showing me results they've done in the past is a very big sell. Now, if you're unable to do a cover letter like this because you don't have past experience, then you need to compensate this by, in my opinion, this is the most effective way to do it, by including a Loom video at the start of your cover letter, saying, hey, I just made this Loom video just for your job. I'm confident I can deliver. This is perfectly suited to my skills. And then put the URL. A custom URL is powerful. And if you don't have past experience, then your Loom is going to be very simple. It's going to be, hey, I just came across your Upwork contract. I'm certain I can deliver a project like this. This is exactly what I do. Let me tell you a little bit about the way I would propose that we approach the strategy of your project. I would suggest that we DM 7 different accounts a day. I would respond to this. I would do this. You're basically giving a strategy audit in the Loom video. And if you have no past experience, then this would require recording a new Loom video for every contract. And although that's time consuming, you have to do this to compensate for your lack of past experience and portfolio. But if you have past experience that you can leverage, then like Roy does, this is very powerful. Sell the result and the outcome. Don't sell who you are and where you're working, because it's just not as powerful. So Roy has done very well with this cover letter. Now, this is one aspect of getting a view rate, a good view rate. The second aspect is you might actually just not have, let me get up this. You might just be competing against people who have just way better earnings and stats, because you can see there are 2 proposals here. Let's pretend both of their cover letters are exceptional. So the cover letter is not the bottleneck. But one has 100K earnings, 100% job success, 17 completed jobs, 10,000 hours of past experience, and the other one has 0. Now, one is obviously more appealing than the other. This is a lot more difficult to fix. If you have a very low metrics on your profile, like earnings and job success and completed projects, there are a few ways to complete this. Number 1, take small projects. Bid on small projects just in the initial phase. It doesn't matter if it's $20, $50, $80 projects. It's not about the finances. It's about the review and job success of completion. This is a very short-term solution. You want to do this in the initial phase. This is not a long-term play, but you need to get a few completed projects under your belt just really quickly. And the way to do that is to find small jobs that are small rate and just quick hires and try and complete it fast to get the review. This is what you want. The second option is, if you have a client that you're working with off of Upwork, is to bring them to Upwork. So existing clients that you've worked with off of the platform, say to them, hey, is it okay if we do the next installment through Upwork? It would really help me build up my profile. And they can post the contract and invite you, and you could basically get a review from that. That follows Upwork's terms of service. That's absolutely no problem with that. The third, and I see some people doing this, I wouldn't highly recommend it, do it at your own risk, is to do a fake project, get a friend to post contract, and you get invited to it, you complete it, you get a review. The cost of this obviously is 10%, which is Upwork's fee. So whatever the fixed project amount is, let's say it's $100, you're paying about $10, give or take, to Upwork to do this. I wouldn't recommend this. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. If you get banned, it's not ideal. But these are the 3 main options. So to increase your view rate, this is all we need. We need a good opening line for your cover letter, which is powerful. It sells the results. We need good stats, and if we don't have it, we need to take small projects. We need to get existing clients to leave us a review, or at your own risk, faking a contract or 2, just so you can kickstart the account. Now, if you do these 2 things, there is one other variable that we haven't talked about, that even if you have really good stats and you have a really good opening cover letter, you might still have a very low view rate. And that probably means that in your niche, it's ultra competitive, that there are too many people boosting. So you can see here, these contracts are boosted, boosted, boosted. In certain niches I've seen, there are so many people that boost every single contract that if you're not boosting, you're going to be left on page 2, which is basically when they click show more, which most prospects aren't going to see your proposal. They're not even going to see your name pop up for them to click on it to view it in the first place. And so that's a lot more difficult to battle against, because that means you have to consider boosting. This is only for very competitive spaces, and I've seen it a few times in a few very specific niches. One of them can be SEO. There are certain contracts with SEO where it's just ultra competitive, or very basic WordPress websites. There are some contracts where WordPress related websites get bombarded with boosts. So these 2 are some I've noticed in, but boosting might have to be the answer if these 2 you've done and they haven't resolved the problem of a low view rate. The last part to this is a good reply rate. Now, we've got a good view rate, 50%. This is fantastic. We apply to 100 contracts, 50 of them see it, and they look at our proposed bid. Now we need a good reply rate. We need them to message us so that we can get them on a call and try and close them. Now, getting a good reply rate, a big part of it is your actual profile. So let me show you here. Let's go through an example profile. So you can see here Safi. He has a very nice, well laid out profile. He's got job success, top rated. He's got a good title, a good profile description, good earnings. He's filled out things like his languages, what he's fluent in. He's got client testimonials written in his profile description, which is very smart. He's got completed jobs with good reviews. He's got portfolio, which is nicely laid out in terms of thumbnails and screenshots, where if we click on it, there's more information about those projects. He's got a project catalog, which makes his profile feel more filled. Skills have been filled out. Employment history, things he's done in the past. This is a nicely filled profile. And this wouldn't inhibit Safi from being able to get good response rates. However, if we look at another example, let's say this one. So this individual, we've obviously viewed his contract because he's come at the top and his cover letter's good and he's got, let's say, good stats. We're going to view his profile now, which is the next stage. We're going to do the same for Gorby and we're going to do the same for Mohammed, because this is what prospects are going to do. When they look at the people that have bidded on their contract, they're going to find 3 or 4 that are like, okay, this looks like a good candidate, good candidate, good candidate. And they're going to open up about 3 profiles and they're going to want to see your full profile. Now, at that point, they're comparing you against other freelancers based on your profile. You can see this profile here is not laid out well. The opening line to the profile description is rubbish. Professional summary is not a good opening. Seasoned technical support engineer versed in aiding customers. This is just very badly written. Very short. He hasn't spent much time optimizing this. The title is not nice in terms of keywords and layout. It's hard to understand what he does. Is it tech support? Is it customer service? Is it database management? These are all completely different things. He's put 3 things in his employment history, very few skills. He hasn't added anything to a catalog. He hasn't put in a video introduction. He's barely filled out the profile. When we compare this to Gorby, who has great stats, video introduction, a nicely well-written profile description, although this can definitely be improved, and as can the title, so this isn't ideal. He has job success, top rated, which is great. He has a portfolio, which is filled out. Skills, which are relevant, employment history, education. You can already see how he's beaten this candidate with barely any skills. Nothing in his portfolio. Very lazy written profile description. You can see how Gorby is already on top. And this is why you could have a good view rate and a bad reply rate. You have to look at your profile and think, how can I improve it? You need to make your profile as optimized as possible. If you can optimize your profile more and more and more, then it's going to be easier. And that really is the main cause of a bad reply rate at that point, because your view rate will be good if your proposed bid is good, your cover letter is good, you've taken time to make a very good application. The only other thing and metric for them to compare you on is now your profile. That's the only thing in your hand. Now, there's things outside of your control. The prospect may have decided not to reply because they've decided not to hire someone for this contract, or they unfortunately spoke to another freelancer earlier on and decided to proceed with them. That's out of your control, but what you can control is your profile. And those are the 3 stages that you need to get clients, because once you get a good reply rate, now you've got conversations happening. You've actually got conversations that are taking place where prospects are messaging you, and now you can get on calls, you can negotiate, you can talk, you've got the lead. Whereas if you can't get the reply rate high enough, you're not even going to get the reply or the message to have an opportunity to try and close the lead. You need to assess every single one of these 3 in the funnel to optimize this. And so hopefully from this video, you can identify, am I applying to too little contracts? Well, then I need to apply to about 5 or 10 a day and stick to it for at least a month. Am I getting a rubbish view rate? Well, then I need to think about the cover letter I'm applying with. I need a better opening line. I need to consider, if my stats are low, how do I improve that? Let me take on some small projects. And then look at your reply rate and think, okay, well, how can I improve my reply rate now? Let me look at my profile. Can I fill out my portfolio? Can I make my portfolio look more engaging? Can I make the thumbnails enhanced? Can I write a better profile description? Can I do a better title? Can I add more things in my testimonial section? Can I get more reviews? There's so many variables now to increase your profile. And if you're thinking about this, then I can almost guarantee that this and this and this will all increase and you'll get more messages, which means more closed deals. This is a money sign. And so I wanted to make this video because I speak to a lot of people, especially in our school community, people who are messaging me and posting things inside saying they're struggling to land their first job. And I ask them, how many contracts are you bidding on? What's your view rate? What's your close rate? What's your reply rate? Sorry. And almost always it's one of these three. So if you can identify which of the problems you're facing, then you can easily fix it and you won't have the problem in the future. So guys, I hope you found this video useful. Feel free to join our school community. You can connect with me inside of there. It's completely free. I provide as much value as I can. I'm going to start doing weekly Q&As. We've got a classroom with a bunch of additional resources for you guys, and you can speak with me directly in there as well as the community. So speak to you guys in the next one.